So my name's Renee Mohammed, and with me is one of our peer support workers, Jude Swanson, who has graciously agreed to be interviewed about his experiences as a peer support worker and his insights. So could you start off describing your role as a peer support worker with Vancouver Mental Health Services?
My roles, it's got a lot of different aspects to it, but basically I work one-on-one with people in the community, working on goals that they're hoping to accomplish in their personal life or work goals or leisure activities. There is other responsibilities like filling out paperwork and working with the other members of the treatment team, like the psychiatrist and case manager and occupational therapist. And I've actually been fortunate too that sometimes you end up working even with the family or friends of the peer when they want when your peer wants you to be working with them. You'll have meetings with them and talk with them, and you get to take them and learn about new activities that they are interested in or work towards a goal that they're hoping to accomplish.
Cool. So what brought you to peer support work?
I was teaching, I was going to a community mental health team and needed a volunteer position, and they thought I'd be good at teaching people how to use computers, and they really liked the way that I taught people how to use computers. I realized that I couldn't do things for people. I had to help them learn to do things for themselves. And I think that's a key theme in peer support work as well. And that's why the people recommended I might want to look into peer support work, and I think they were on the right track. It's just they said it might be a way where you could help people learn some skills and feel connected and learn from you and work together. But I also learn from the people I work with as well, so it's a really neat job that way. So I just thought I really enjoy helping people when I can, sharing my expertise. So that's why I got into it.
Can you give an example of a goal that you supported a peer around attaining?
Well, a fairly frequent one actually is helping people take the bus. Some people are really anxious taking the bus. I'm actually personally anxious taking the bus. I don't like crowds. I don't like people bumping into me and stepping on me and things like that. So
Me neither.
I get anxious on buses. So I'm actually a good peer support worker in that way, because they immediately understand I can share my experiences and they realize, boy, this guy's got an idea of how challenging it can be, and then we gradually work together and get. You never feel 100% comfortable. I can ride any bus in the city, but I still don't enjoy it when it gets busy.
Yeah.
And that's what you're trying to help the person you're working with feel too.
Yeah. So would you say that being a peer is an asset in your work?
Yeah, like I just said, people usually feel comfortable when they realize that you're somebody who's gone through a similar experience, or even if it's not the same, that you're willing to share a little bit about your past, and in a way that's helpful to them. They realize, oh, I'm not the only person that's gone through this, and I don't suggest to people that they do exactly what I do. I say, let's try and discover what's going to work for you, because you're a different person, and a lot of times it's something similar to what worked for me, but a lot of times it's not. So it's really it's neat, and they really appreciate the fact that I respect them as an individual, and we find out what works for them.
Cool. Yeah, we're all different. So how has peer support work impacted on your personal life?
It's impacted on my personal life in a variety of ways. It's actually opened some opportunities up for other things that just because of my experience as a peer support worker, I've done some planning on some conferences, been on the planning committee for conferences. I've done a variety of public speaking. I've even led workshops and taught various groups, including police, students, healthcare workers, and even like going fully back to me personally. Like I realized working as a peer support worker, boundaries are an important issue, and being forced to think about boundaries in a work setting helped me realize that that was something I wanted to do in my private life too. So I've gotten better at managing boundaries in my private life, and there's been some really amazing opportunities. Like a couple of years ago, I got to go to Japan to speak at a conference with a colleague, and so really feel blessed. I'd say the other thing that's personally been very, very helpful is when you see people make some progress in your life, and sorry, not in your life, in their life,
Yeah.
and you just realize, boy, I had a small part in that, and they're so grateful, and you just see how much of a change they've had. So it
Yeah.
really feels good to know that you've helped someone move on, and they're proud of where they've ended up.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it's about, right? And that leads me right into the next question is, do you have any stories of making a difference to others in your work?
Yeah, I have quite a few. I'd say the first one that really comes to mind is I have some fairly large injuries on my body, and that I've had to have skin grafts. And one person was having a lot of trouble getting out of the house because they had a small skin graft, and it was about the size of a tennis ball, and my skin grafts are huge. They're very large. So when this person saw that I was able to get out in public and get around, and he saw how my skin grafts were, it really helped him realize that this is probably something that he could overcome. And together we worked, and he really felt independent. Another great thing that I was happy about was one person had totally stopped believing in himself, and he told me one day that he had talked to his aunt, and she was very proud of him, and he said that she was the third person in his life that really believed in him. And I asked him, well, who were the other two people? And he said that he was the second one. And he said that, but you, Jude, you were the first person. You were believing in me when nobody was.
Wow.
I had given up on myself. So it was really, that person taught me a lot about doing the job. And that's one of the things when I talk about getting some benefit, seeing how people progress, seeing how grateful, and seeing how far that person came, and the fact that that person believed in themselves again really made me feel like it made an impact.
Wow. Wow, that is so powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get that person, and still see the person on the street and say hi every time.
Cool. Moving on to another line of discussion, do you have any tips for new peer support workers?
I'd say the key things for me, one thing that I've learned is, especially when somebody is to really, really be quiet. I ask people questions, and some people, due to the symptoms that they may be going through, I asked one person a question once, and I just was quiet and waited for their response, and I waited over 5 minutes, and that person responded and answered my question. And if I had just jumped in and filled up that quiet, I would have missed out on an opportunity to hear that person. That person just needed some time, quiet, and my attention to listen and give them an opportunity to respond. So listening, I think, is very critical.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I get so much out of sharing people's strengths with them. Sometimes people don't think they have any strengths, and when they find out that you're being honest and you're sharing strengths that you feel that they have, and they start to see those strengths in themselves, that's another thing that I think is really helpful for peer support workers to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the final thing is sometimes, just due to the way things work, sometimes you'll either you or somebody else in the treatment team might unintentionally try to force people to do things,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't find that's ever a good idea. We want to help work with people, not force them to do things we think will help them.
Yeah, it's not very empowering when someone's trying to do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I always get so much feedback, positive feedback from people I work with, saying they're so glad that I didn't force them to try
Yeah.
to, and that's why they were willing to trust me. That's why they were willing to work with me, and that's why we went on to get some amazing things done together.
Mhm. Very cool. So do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
I just feel personally very blessed that I'm not stigmatized about having a mental health diagnosis, and I think that's one of the other things that really helps people, as they're not used to seeing somebody who's going to trust them and respect them and admit, I've got some of these issues too. I only share things that I think are going to be of value for people, but that it's that honest way that you interact with people and support them. I just find it an amazing job. I'm going to find it really hard to quit the job when it comes time. But
Well, hopefully that's way down the road.
oh yeah, I think it will.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.